So here you are. So you decided in about 2017, I think it was, to take your failure, learning from it, what you enjoyed doing, what you were good at. And then you were starting to look for a market, and you started consulting, didn't you? And prior to that consulting, you documented your expertise. Tell us a little bit about the documenting your expertise, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about how you created a business model that could scale at Pavilion. So tell us about that documenting your expertise and what you did.
Well, sure. Well, and I, by the way, because we have like 10,000 members now in Pavilion all over the world. And so I still, much of my day, not most of my day, but much of my day is still doing one-on-one consultations, like coaching conversations, just because the point of the company is like trying to help people in a time of need. So literally today I had a conversation with somebody that's like, I want to go out on my own. I think I want to, but I'm scared and I'm not sure what to do or how to do it. And so to the point of what you asked, Jeff, that my answer, which is the same piece of advice. And by the way, this was advice that actually my wife gave me, because I was thinking, I'm so sick of these bastards. I need to make some of my own money. How am I going to do it? What should I do? And she said, why don't you spend time writing down everything you know about running a company? Why don't you just take this moment? It was on a Tuesday because I'd been fired on a Monday, and just document all of the opinions that you have about how to build a company, because I sensed that I wanted to try consulting. Ultimately, Pavilion is not a consulting business,
no.
But really the consulting effort for me was about taking a leap of making my own money. And so, it was this process, and I really encourage everybody to do it. I probably encourage them to do it, over the course of their career rather than just in one fell swoop. But the idea of like, okay, like let's, more than you think you know. Sometimes we have this inner monologue that, we're not good enough, we're not succeeding, we don't really know that much. And the reality is a lot of us have a lot of wisdom and experience. You mentioned, like a phrase that I think about. There's only one way to learn something, which is the hard way, right? Which is through pain. And so we've all learned a lot of things the hard way. So let's document all of the things that we've learned. So I spent a bunch of time just dropping down all of these ideas that I had. And ultimately, those things became a product that I sold in my consulting business, which was like a company diagnostic tool. Basically, I took all of my ideas about how to run a company and I turned it into this scorecard that I could then use to go into a company and say, let me rate your company on how well you're doing against these critical dimensions, and you'll pay me to do it. And it worked really, really well. And so, I think the lesson there is like, one of the things I've discovered, which is sort of an odd observation perhaps, but we assume, human beings, you and me, or maybe you and me are different, but many people, for me, for a long time, I assumed that my thoughts were in complete sentences, and they're not. They're actually not. My thoughts are they're fragments, and they're pictures, and they're words. So my point is, when I think I have a complete sense of all of the things that I know because it's in my head, I don't. And the act of documentation, the act of getting it out of your head onto a piece of paper or into a microphone, but some way of memorializing it, it becomes far richer and more complete than you think. You might think, oh, I don't know that much. I don't have that much interesting to say. Well, let's start getting it out and we can figure out afterwards if that's actually the truth. So for me, documentation, besides being a useful exercise just to get in the habit of writing and understanding yourself and some introspection and awareness, it also helps memorialize your expertise, your wisdom, your experience in a way that I found to be quite useful later in life.